I'm Dr. Gillie Bolton, and I've been working in the field of therapeutic writing and writing for personal development for a long time, at least 25 years, if not more. And this is an area where we use writing, personal writing, free-flow writing, to find out more about yourself. Because you can talk about yourself, but it's very hard for us to talk about ourselves. And if you use writing, which is a private process, you can say so much more. So this is what I've been working on for all these years, and it's a field that's grown a lot since I first started. And one of the things that's really helped it to grow is the Jessica Kingsley series. So Write Yourself, which is subtitled Creative Writing and Personal Development, has been many years in the making, I think at least 12. Well, since my first book with Jessica Kingsley, which is called The Therapeutic Potential of Creative Writing, which I'm happy to say is still in print and still selling well. So really this is the sequel to it. I have no idea what set me off writing. It was many years ago when my children were small, and what had happened to me when I was a little girl was weighing on me very heavily, and I wasn't able to lead my life in a normal way. And somebody suggested I write my life story. And so I had a hardback notebook from school, left over from school. And I sat at our kitchen table and I wrote my life story very neatly in this red hardback notebook. And then something prompted me, I don't know what, to reread this and realise, oh yes, that's a lovely picture of a childhood in a beautiful village, in a farmhouse. Really lovely, but actually there's something underneath. And my writing after that absolutely took off, and I wrote in really odd places and on great big pieces of paper or little tiny pieces of paper, and I scrawled and screamed onto the writing. And a completely different kind of autobiography emerged using a lot of metaphors and images, and that was absolutely life-saving for me. And so that was what brought me into the world of creative writing and then therapeutic writing. When a lot of people think of writing for themselves, they think of writing poetry. And so when Princess Diana died, for example, a lot of people wrote poems. Same with 9/11. After 9/11, a lot of people wrote poetry. And in bereavement, people reach for poetry, and various other marginal states like that. When people are in personal trouble, it's poetry that they both read and write. I think what poetry does is it uses our ordinary old everyday words, our ordinary old language, and it puts them together in different ways. So rather than tearing apart, I think poetry puts elements together that weren't together before. And it's that congruence, that meeting of different things that can make poetry flash fire and make things happen for us. So I think one of the really significant writings for me is Wordsworth's long poem, The Prelude, which tells of his childhood. It's autobiographical. It tells the story of his childhood in the Lake District, and I think it's significant for me because it is so full of joy and observation and insight gained from living close to nature. And Gerard Manley Hopkins' poems have a similar kind of observation. And one of the things that I always say to people about writing is observation is absolutely key. Absolutely key. If we don't observe accurately and write about those accurate observations, you very quickly lose your reader, and you very quickly lose yourself. I think the exercise that I return to again and again the whole time in my own personal writing, and I write a journal every day, is writing dialogues. And one of the wonderful things that you can do in dialoguing is having a dialogue with, say, your internal mentor. And your internal mentor will always give you positive things, always help you to see the joyful side of things. Your internal mentor is profoundly stronger than your internal critic. And in our culture, we tend to hear our internal critics too strongly. And I think one of the real forces of therapeutic and personal development writing is to enable us to hear our internal mentors, our joyful sides, our inner children, the life force within us. And I think perhaps that's the most important element of it. This book, Write Yourself, along with the other books in the series, give endless advice about how to start using therapeutic or personal development writing and how to develop that work with other people. Because there are certain things that are really, really important that you need to say or ways of being with a group when you're facilitating writing. The most important of these actually is always to give people permission to write just whatever they need to write. But Write Yourself, along with the other books in the series, does give a host of practical advice, both on how to introduce writing to people and how to help them develop it, but also how to be with a group. There's a whole chapter on how to run a group, because there's a lot of really, really practical things that it's really worth knowing, that when you read it in the book you think, oh, I see, oh, well, I won't make that blunder again, I now know this is how I do this kind of thing and that's how I do that. And it's set out very, very clearly and simply. So please use the advice in this book and the other books in the series, and then you'll really enjoy doing therapeutic writing and you'll get a lot out of it.